Thrifting ain't easy, unless you're watching me. Top of the day to you. You're watching the Thrift Store Rundown at the top of 2024, doing what we do best, bringing Hollywood home on a budget. Today, we're all about helping you reach the top of the top, going beyond the peak of what you can achieve. We want to help you stay on top of your life today. In essence, your life is your world, so in that case, we want to help you stay on top of the world. Your world. And by we, this time I mean myself and the kind of dog that only a plain old Pete or a peculiar kind of Peter could love. Brian Griffin, a Family Guy. I may not be Peter Griffin, but he's the type of dog I would love to sit back and crack open a cold one with. Even though I never cracked open a cold one in my life and probably never will. Nevertheless, while I don't have a dog of my own, I certainly would love to acquire a dog's kind of wisdom and impart it on to you. And not just any old dog's kind of wisdom. Brian's wisdom and wit. And on both counts, he delivers with his guide to booze, broads, and the lost art of being a man. Picked up from Value Village in Hawthorne for $5.99. This is really written by Family Guy writer and producer Andrew Goldberg. It's his words and Brian's voice. But, nevertheless, you're about to learn some life lessons that Brian learned while roaming bar stools across America, from Quahog to LA. Let's get started. 2 life lessons you ought to be aware of as we head into 2024 are broads and your place in the workplace. Chapter 2, Broads and Why I'm Destined to Dine Alone. Brian just needs a leg to hump, but the problem is, throughout 25 years, well, soon to be 25 years of Family Guy, he hasn't found the right leg to permanently attach himself to for the long haul. That's the case for his creator, Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane. Brian and Seth, one soul in 2 completely different beings. These are all the reasons why Brian loves dames. The way they smell, their boobs. I mean, if the book says it, why the hell not, right? And in that context, I think Brian and I are definitely 2 of a kind as well. The way a classy dame feels on your arm, the way they laugh for the obvious exception of Brand Dresser, even though she's definitely one boss babe at the Screen Actors Guild, and as certain as the French put it, je ne sais quoi about them. Loosely translated, they don't know what it is, that indescribable, intangible, almost ethereal quality that true ladies possess. Like Lois Griffin, Brian's secret object of his desire, which as you know is not so secret anymore. Why he's destined to die alone? Again, he hasn't found the right leg to permanently attach himself to and hunt for the long haul because he just screws it up almost always. He always prefers humans. The only canine he ever got acquainted with was Seabreeze, Carter Petersmith's prize-winning race dog. There was a certain allure about Seabreeze, which resulted in 7 Petersmith Poochies. What the hell have you done, Brian? Anyway, he screwed it up with these other women, Pearl Button, someone who's definitely not Brian's type, but because of Brian and the 2 developing a fondness for each other, she acquired a certain zest for life that can be distilled in the Emmy Award-winning song, You've Got a Lot to See. And once he finishes and Pearl leaves the house for the first time in 30 years, she gets hit by a moving truck and passes away. The first downer ending in Family Guy history. He also messes up with Shauna Potts, civil rights activist and history teacher at the formerly named James Woods High. Or should I say now, Adam West High. And here we have Brooke Roberts, aspiring actress, Bachelorette contestant, and Major League Hottie. Major League Hottie is right. You have some wickedly talented character designers to make a few Family Guy stands out there lust over an animated Bachelorette. She was gorgeous, well-built, witty, knew her jazz. and my lord, when she kissed me, I thought my tail would never stop wagging. But it was all a farce. It was all a ruse, a national TV dating stunt that Brian at first abhorred, and then he fell victim to it. Work broke his heart. I should note for the record that even though their bachelor parody wasn't perfect, it was definitely effective. And maybe on the next time out, they could get Chris Harrison to do it, given his not-so-clean breakup from the franchise after 18 years. Is any breakup really clean? I mean, just look at Brian and Brooke, or any other celebrity couple that made it through the waiter only to wring each other dry, either in court or outside. This is one of many guest essays from Griffin family members that you'll find it here, like Stewie, and why you should definitely run for the hills if you see Brian flirting with you, lest you pay the consequences. These are Brian's top 5 overlooked hotties: Glenn Close, Olympia Dukakis, Asian reporter Trista Takanawa, Bjork, and Gina Davis. Okay, I can understand Gina Davis, but Glenn Close, Olympia Dukakis, Bjork, Asian reporter Trista Takanawa? No, under remaining counts. Glenn Close probably as a last-ditch effort, and that goes to save a Fatal Attraction. Why on earth would you pick Glenn Close over Ann Archer, who Michael Douglas in a behind-the-scenes featurette described as, and I quote, one of the most beautiful women in the world? Why? I'll never know. As for Gina Davis, Stuart Little Gina Davis, please. I like him wholesome as I like him wild. And there aren't enough condoms in the world for Brian to take on Christina Aguilera, Paris Hilton, Jamie Presley, Elizabeth Hurley, and Katie Holmes? Okay, Paris I understand, but Jamie Presley, Katie Holmes, Christina Aguilera, and Elizabeth Hurley? Maybe Brian and I don't share the exact taste in women. But nevertheless, I think he and I probably share the same soul, as does he and his creator and actor, Seth MacFarlane. Enough about broads, although really, men can never get enough about broads, right? Let's move on to the workforce. Why I'd rather chew on my crotch than chase birds. Brian's place in the workplace? Well, he had plenty of them. Chief among them, a cop. Yes, a member of the Quahog Police. The days of decency and virtue are gone, honey. Bam! Freaking evaporated like a dingy, stinking mud puddle. And it's all because of the very drug that the Quahog Police were trying to fight. And Brian ended up getting hooked on. He was kicked off the force and sent to rehab. And then, because of his little prank alongside Peter, with the pregnant teens from across the lake, resulting in 14 premature births, Brian finally needed to know who he was. So he set off on a quest to do just that, ending up in Hollywood as a porn flick director and even composer. What does Brian do all day? Well, you can see here. This is a timeline of a typical day in the life of Brian. It involves waking up, having a cup of coffee, reading the paper, watching last night's episode of Charlie Rose, and then trying to email the guest for Charlie Rose for the next night. It involves controlling your urge to hump the waiter while downing your liquid lunch of a martini, a dry martini, and a handful of olives. Exercise with Peter at the park, dinner time far away from Meg, making a drunken phone call to an old girlfriend, and crying himself to sleep. When it comes to style, when it comes to family matters, when it comes to music, when it comes to recreation, really, when it comes to booze, broads, and just being a man, there's one central theme that I think ties everything together. Why can't we get back to the classics? I know we may never fully go back to the days of Family Affair and the Dick Van Dyke Show, but come on, if for once in your life you can't go ahead and put on a nice old two-piece black and white suit, pop in a little Frank Sinatra, made all the more personal because of Brian's performance alongside Frank Sinatra Jr. Remember Brian sings and swings? Have a good old-fashioned, and just paint the town red, like the chairman of the board used to do. Him and his deputy. So that's the theme that I think ties everything together here. You'll get many quotes from the show, many episode stills, and many drawings made specifically for the book. But again, it's all about the classics. And I gotta say, Family Guy, turning 25 years old this month, would be a modern classic in itself. Not since Frank Sinatra and his Rat Pack Pollies has anyone embodied a life of style, wit, and charm like Brian Griffin. This retails for $14.99 in the US and $18.95 in Canada. And I say it's top notch. 5 out of 5 claps. I can forgive our differing tastes in women, but nevertheless, this is definitely a softcover portrait of a 4-legged chairman of the board, even if he still is a bar stool of the boards. Thanks for tuning in. Just so you know, there's no limit to bringing Hollywood home on a budget. Please go ahead and check out another awesome review like this one by clicking here, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here. Until next time, I'll catch you, as I always do, on the flip side.